Claire had always been cautious about love. She focused on her career as a graphic designer and spent her free time with her best friends and her dog. Max love wasn't a priority until she met Ryan Collins at her cousin's engagement party. Ryan was charming, attentive, and had an aura of confidence that drew everyone in. He wasn't just handsome, he was magnetic, with his tailored suits, sparkling smile, and thoughtful gestures. By the end of the evening, he'd managed to convince Claire to have dinner with him. Their relationship blossomed quickly. Ryan seemed to know all the right things to say. He listened to Claire's dreams, remembered her favorite flowers, and planned surprise dates that left her swooning. He was everything she'd ever dreamed of and more. A year into their relationship, Ryan proposed during a romantic trip to Paris. Claire was over the moon. He knelt on one knee in front of the Eiffel Tower, holding a diamond ring that sparkled brighter than the city lights. Of course, she said yes. Soon after, Claire met Ryan's family. His mother, Evelyn, was polished and warm, a classic matriarch who clearly adored her son. His father, James, was quieter, a retired businessman with a reserved demeanor. But there was something odd about Evelyn. She always seemed too perfect. She spoke about Ryan's childhood in vague terms, glossing over details with stories about his remarkable transformation into the man he was today. Claire brushed it off, chalking it up to Evelyn's pride. As the wedding planning progressed, Claire began noticing cracks in the facade. Ryan became evasive about his past when she asked about his school days or old friends. His mother would quickly change the subject if the topic lingered. One evening, while sorting through photos for the wedding slideshow, Claire asked Ryan why there were no pictures of him from his teenage years. Ryan stiffened and said he hadn't liked being photographed back then. It was a small thing, but it planted a seed of doubt. 2 weeks before the wedding, Claire received an anonymous letter. It was typed, short, and chilling. "Claire, you deserve to know who Ryan really is before it's too late. Ask him about Millbrook Correctional Facility." Claire's heart raced as she read it. She immediately confronted Ryan, who laughed it off, calling it a prank from an old rival. "Some people can't handle seeing others happy," he said, pulling her close. Claire wanted to believe him, but the unease lingered. Determined to clear her doubts, Claire began digging. She searched online, combed through public records, and even contacted a private investigator. What she found shook her to her core. 10 years ago, Ryan had been convicted of armed robbery. The crime had been violent, leaving a store clerk injured. Ryan served 3 years in prison before being released on parole. His family had covered it up, erasing it from his public image. The worst part? Evelyn had orchestrated it all, pulling strings and paying off people to ensure Ryan's record wouldn't follow him. The morning of the wedding, Claire was a bundle of nerves. She hadn't yet confronted Ryan, unsure of what to say or do. But as she stood in her bridal suite, dressed in her wedding gown, she received another anonymous message. It was a link to a video security footage from the robbery. Claire watched in horror as Ryan, younger but unmistakable, pointed a weapon at a terrified store clerk. Ryan and Evelyn burst into the room moments later, sensing something was wrong. Claire held up her phone, the video paused on Ryan's face. "Care to explain this?" she demanded. Ryan froze, while Evelyn stepped forward, her polished demeanor cracking. "It was a mistake, Claire. He was young, impressionable. He's not that person anymore." Claire's voice trembled. "You both lied to me. You let me believe I knew the man I was marrying, but this is unforgivable." Guests were already seated when Claire stormed into the hall, dragging Ryan and Evelyn behind her. She grabbed the microphone and addressed the crowd. "There won't be a wedding today," she announced, her voice steady but filled with emotion. "I just discovered that the man I was about to marry and his family have been hiding something from me. Ryan was convicted of a violent crime, and they lied to cover it up." Gasps filled the room. Ryan tried to defend himself, but Claire wasn't finished. "Marriage is built on trust, and there's none left here." She turned and walked out, leaving Ryan and Evelyn standing in stunned silence. In the weeks that followed, Claire struggled to process everything. She felt betrayed, not just by Ryan but by his entire family. She thought back to every moment they'd shared, realizing how much of it was built on lies. Ryan tried to reach out, sending letters and flowers, but Claire couldn't bring herself to respond. She couldn't reconcile the man she loved with the man who'd committed such a violent act and lied about it. Evelyn's reputation was also tarnished. The truth about her cover-up spread quickly, and her carefully constructed image crumbled. Months later, Claire was rebuilding her life. She threw herself into her work and leaned on her friends for support. Though the pain lingered, she knew she'd made the right decision. As for Ryan, he was left to confront the consequences of his actions and the deception he and his family had perpetrated. He admitted to himself that hiding his past hadn't just been a mistake, it had cost him the love of his life. Claire's courage became a story of inspiration, a reminder that trust and honesty are the foundations of any relationship. She didn't just walk away from a wedding, she walked toward a life where she valued herself enough to demand the truth.